to pray. There's no angels where I go, only pieces that are broken, scattered dreams across the floor. I'm home.
Okay, hello everybody, this is Kiro Show here. Now, before I get the video started, I have an announcement for tomorrow's What If. What do I mean by tomorrow? I'm going to be trying to crank out this What If the rest of my day, and I actually want people to... I'm going to releasing the last part. As soon as I release it, I want people to actually comment on that video any What If they want, and I can put it into a drawing. And I will put in Ghost Rider, Sunshine, and all the other What Ifs I believe I've seen. And just know I'm saying, no What If is off limits for Christmas. This is going to be my present to you guys. So, whenever I release that video, comment on that one, not on this one, because I don't really want to... I wouldn't have to get out a pen and paper and actually go through 3 or 4 videos to find it. It would just be easier on me if you guys put it all at the end of that one video. So if you guys can do that for me, I can put in those what ifs in a drawing. And I mean anyone. I'm putting in Ghost Rider, Sunshine, and I believe Anti-Venom along with Turtle and a Half Shell. So you guys can literally pick anything for me to do. But I was gonna do it. I was originally gonna do it basically first one, or one that has the most likes or comments on it. Basically, the most response on it. That was gonna be the one I picked, but I realized that people would just like their own comment. So basically, I'm gonna do a drawing for tomorrow. Now, anyways, back to this what if. Deku had actually met his favorite hero, Fat Gum. Now, Fat Gum is talking with Deku, saying that it's not really all the time you ever get to meet someone with the same quirk. So, I have a question. What kind of trouble are you having on it? Deku would immediately think, and he would ask Fat Gum that he's having trouble on whenever he has to emerge from his shell, because he has to do it so fast. Fat Gum's asking what Deku means, and Deku would immediately just show him what he means by just taking off a layer. Now, he's like an onion or an ogre, because ogres have layers. Anyways, now then, he would take off one layer and he would actually emerge 3/4 the size. Now, Fat Gum will be interested by this, and he just tell Deku that he has no idea what that even is, because he cannot do that, which would actually intrigue Deku. So, he would say that he'll try and think of other things that he can help him with, because other than that, their quirks are very similar. Now, this is whenever they would say that they are going to be going to the hospital, but I just thought of something, guys. Could you consider this a support item? Genuinely, could you? Imagine Deku, he's running around and he just has this support box, right by his lower back. He never uses it, and it's anytime he overuses his quirk, he just pulls out the box from behind his back. People are getting scared, they're getting confused because they don't know what that is. He just opens it and it's a bona fide lunchbox. That would be hilarious to me. Okay, I'm gonna have to make a costume adjustment for that. Anyways, now then, back to this. This is whenever they would go to the police station, or I believe I said hospital. So I'm just gonna say hospital. They would go to a hospital and they would have to go and actually see a young hero that was attacked by the hero killer. Now, this is actually how I'm bringing Deku into the hero killer arc, because Fat Gum is actually a behind-the-scenes hero who works with detectives and police officers. So this would actually make sense to bring him in to look for the hero killer. Now, as soon as Deku, he would hear that they're going to be interviewing a man, he would be surprised as they would open the door and he would see a blue-haired man with glasses, which he immediately looks at Momo, saying that is that Ida said his brother was Ingenium, right? Is this? As he would immediately walk in, asking if that's Ingenium. The man would say that yes, he is, but he is actually going to have to retire early because of what happened. As basically he has lost the use of his legs. Now, after that, Deku, he's realizing, and he would immediately look to Momo, and he would just tell Facum that they think that their friend is in the city because he's looking to actually take revenge on the hero killer. Tensei would have heard this, and he would have actually immediately started calling over Ida. But Ida would just pick up the phone, asking if his brother's okay, and he would immediately just say that he doesn't need to take revenge because that's not what heroes do. You should be a hero not for the fact that you just want to get back at someone. You need to be a proper hero for the fact that you want to stop this from happening to anyone else. Which would actually make Ida kind of tear up a bit, but he would immediately have to wipe away his tears, put his helmet back on, and actually just tell his brother he has it as he would hang up the phone and continue on with the hero manual. Now, after that, he would say that he's happy that they at least brought this up to him. They wouldn't want anything to happen. I just realized I do not know Manuel's quirk. So, this is how I'm gonna have... Okay, I know how I can get around that situation. Anyways, this is whenever Deku, he would say that that's good. Now then, he would immediately start talking about how they did this is the last area they were in, and essentially they may have only one more chance to actually find the hero killer before he leaves the city. Now, after that, they are going to be training, and they would be... Let's see. Falcon would actually show them a good way to train their quirks. He's showing Deku that essentially, if he eats more than he thinks he needs to, he also needs to eat more and more. So he essentially just needs to be constantly eating. Which Deku actually was somewhat doing already, but not as much as Falcon does. So he would actually start doing so. Momo would actually be doing what she was doing at the summer training camp, or the forest training arc. I almost said the Black Forest training arc, but I still think that that's right. Anyways, this is whenever Deku would actually... he would actually create a 5th layer, if not a 6th layer. A new layer that he hasn't had before. Now then, at this point, he's actually around the size of Fat Gum. He's not bigger than Fat Gum, and he's not at the size of Fat Gum, but he's nearing it. Because he was already around... Before he exited his lair to show Fat Gum what he means by exiting him, he was probably around at least half the size, if not 3/4 of the size of Fat Gum. Whenever he got out of his lair, he was about half the size of Fat Gum. Now, after this, he's actually somewhere around his size. Essentially, he's at 90% of his body mass. Now, Deku is actually talking with Momo. Yeah, okay, I had that right. And she's actually learned a bit more about her own quirk. As she would say that she thinks that she's actually getting better with it, as she would try and create... That's it. She would try and create water. And as soon as she would try and create it, all that would really come out is like a black sludge that's kind of runny. Now, he's asking her how or why it's like that. And she's saying that it's an improvement, but it's just that she's never tried making any liquids before. So she thinks that her thinking about different things or doing that actually did not help any better. Now then, the Hero Killer Training Arc. Hero Killer Training Arc. My brain I need coffee. I am legit going to make I'm gonna go make a pot of coffee after this, guys. So, anyways, Deku, Fat Gum, and Momo are out on the town trying to actually find Stain. Now then, Deku would immediately get a text on his phone that is from Ida, and it's just Ida's location. As Ida would say that he thinks he knows he thinks he knows what the Hero Killer is, and he's about to make contact. So he needs to message Todoroki, telling him that Ida's going to be here too because he thinks that someone's in trouble. So Deku would do so, and he would tell Fat Gum about what's going on. Now, as soon as he told Fat Gum, they would immediately start heading that way. Deku would have asked Momo if he can actually help her get there faster. She would say yes, as Deku would just grab her, absorb her into his body fat, and just start bouncing away. Now, the reason why he did that is because she can run somewhat fast, but they're somewhere around halfway across the city. So, they are actually bouncing around. They're bouncing from rooftop to rooftop. And as soon as Deku arrives, Todoroki and Bakugo would have actually arrived, and Todoroki already shot the flame at Bakugo. He shot the flame at Stain, which would actually surprise Deku whenever he arrives. So he would arrive, and he would immediately see Stain. Deku would tell Stain that he's outnumbered, and Stain would just say that he's outnumbered by 3-1. As Momo would come out from behind Deku, and she would just say 4-1 actually. But the pros are going to be here soon anyways. We have Endeavor and Fat Gum on the way. Now, after Stain would have heard Fat Gum, he would have said, so the only one closest to All Might's ideals, besides me. Which would immediately make Deku actually discharge to its Stain. Stain would immediately try cutting into Deku's body fat, but that would not work. Deku would actually just absorb the blade and absorb Stain, actually capturing the Hero Killer. Meaning no injuries, nothing like that. So they wouldn't actually get in trouble, and they would actually be praised for saving the heroes. Now then, after this happened, everyone would go back to school, and this is whenever the final exams would happen. Now, Bakugo, with his training at Todoroki's agency, he's actually been able to learn more about full cowling and actually being able to go into the essentially hard to reach area, which was 40%, and the most dangerous area, which was 50%. But throughout training it, he's actually gotten up to 40% comfortably, 50% uncomfortably, and 60% uncomfortably. But Bakugo, being an overachiever, thank you, brain, he would actually push himself to what he calls basically overdrive, where he would actually crank himself up by 65%. Now, the reason why he's at 65% and why I'm doing this is to actually help even out the odds with Deku and Bakugo versus All Might, and because Bakugo is the type of person who would do this. Basically, hey, your body's about to destroy itself. I don't care. Maximum overdrive! Anyways, After this, Bakugo and Deku would be told they are going to be fighting All Might. And Deku's actually somewhat excited, because this would actually give him the opportunity to test the full limits of his quirk. As so is Bakugo. Now then, this is whenever Deku... Ow. Deku and Bakugo, they would actually walk out, and Deku, he would immediately tell Bakugo that, knowing All Might, he's going to just try a frontal assault, right? Bakugo would say that All Might's the... Anytime All Might tried training Bakugo, he wouldn't really do combat training. But he always just throws a punch, as Bakugo would immediately just throw his own. Now, he actually threw this at about 60%, so as soon as he threw it, it's flying through the city, and All Might would actually cancel it out. Now, Deku would have immediately realized that All Might's not holding back, as he would immediately just get in front of Bakugo and absorb a barrage from All Might. As soon as he absorbed it, All Might would have actually grabbed him and actually threw him over his shoulder, sending him flying into a building. Deku would have immediately just gone limp. Now, what I mean by gone limp is he would immediately just spread himself as much as he can and actually just go flat against the building, actually hitting it somewhat softer, absorbing the impact, and he would immediately just try to gather himself back up in one spot and launch off the building. And he calls this move Cannonball. So his entire body is glowing with his kinetic energy, and he would immediately just roll into a ball, and he would hit All Might in the back with it as hard as he can. Now, he's actually in his fat form, which somewhat surprises him. So he's just not questioning it, saying that it seems like Fatcom's idea actually does work. So, essentially what Deku's been doing is he's been eating around 2,500 calories a day, but with Fatcom's training, he actually cranked it up to 5,000, which is twice what he used to eat. Now, if we're talking like regular food, that's about it, but whenever he has to do hero training and stuff like that, he would eat Fatcom's signature meal, which is this, which basically means that I'm going to put each one of these at around, well, not 500, 300 calories, and full of protein. So, he would probably have a box of those on standby afterwards. Now, Deku, he would actually be surprised, and he would actually just start. He would actually just start telling Bakugo to attack All Might. As Deku would just lunge at All Might and he'd grab him, he would actually wrap his hands or use his body fat to actually wrap itself around All Might's hands, actually making it to where All Might cannot unstick from him. So he's essentially turning his body, well, he's sticking to him like gum. Now, Deku is actually doing that, and All Might's essentially just throwing Deku around, throwing him into buildings, doing all that. Actually, somewhat finding it harder to get Deku off of him. So he would immediately just throw a knee at Deku's gut, and that would not work. So he just keeps kicking and kicking and kicking until Deku would finally let go. And as soon as he lets go, All Might would immediately be met with an explosive punch, where Bakugo actually throws a 65% smash, along with his explosion, directly at All Might's face. Which essentially, Bakugo is actually using the outer side of his hands, so his knuckles, to actually throw the explosion. He would throw the explosion behind his arm to make momentum. He would charge up his fist, and he would just punch All Might, actually throwing an explosion directly at him point blank, sending him flying again. Now, Deku would immediately tell Bakugo to punch him as hard as he can. Bakugo would immediately just throw as many explosions as he can at Deku, just punching him, and he would tell Bakugo to throw him, which one Bakugo would actually just grab Deku, throw him up in the air, and Deku would morph his arms into a glider. Deku would immediately go as high as he can, and he would just charge himself up and immediately just come down with what he calls the atomic fireball, where he uses all his energy in one go. So he would immediately do that, and he's aiming for All Might. As soon as he hits All Might, a giant boom can be heard, just shaking and destroying the entire city. Now, as soon as that happens, all you would see is Deku huffing and puffing as he's standing over All Might, who is actually passed out, but he's still in his buff form. Now, as soon as Deku did that, he's at least got a couple layers left, so he would have grabbed All Might, actually just absorbing him into his body, and just walk out with him. As All Might would have shrunk down as soon as Midoriya actually absorbed him, which is whenever they would be declared the winners. And Deku would let All Might out after All Might would have actually just started moving. And Deku would have done that, and they would have gone back to the observatory area, where he would eat his food or his snack. And people are congratulating them, and they're asking Deku about those moves. Deku would say that Facom actually gave him a couple of different pointers, but it seems like his quirk is more evolved than Facom's. They work differently, and they share similarities. But that may be about it. Now, I'm going to be leaving this what if off here, guys. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and have an amazing day. And we'll catch you guys later.